Okay, so today we are going to talk about the new section, that is 3.35. In this section we are discussing, we are going to talk about this case. Progressive means the continuity. Here means to add the what we call the ing form to the verbs. So we know that not all verbs, not in all situations they take ing, but exceptions. This depends on whether the verbs belong to the group of dynamic or to the group of stative. We explained this before. But we have we have special group of verbs that can be stative and dynamic according to the situation. So such verbs, for example, let's say example of this is the verb measure. The verb measure can be stative or dynamic according to what? To the situation or the meaning of the verb. If we say, for example, they are measuring the court, so in this case we can say they are measuring. In this case we put the ing. Or no, we say the court measures 30 or 40 meters. Here we cannot put ing to the verb. So we have a group of verbs like measure or contain, the verb contain, or the verb hold. These verbs and others, they, according to their meaning, sometimes they are progressive and they are dynamic and they are stative according to their situation or meaning. So what I want you to make a list as before of such verbs in order to recognize which one belong to which group, whether dynamic or stative. Anyhow, previously, again, if you remember, we classify verbs into stative and dynamic. At that time, we divided the stative into categories like verbs of bodily sensation, position, believing, etc. Today we have the reverse. It means we are going to classify or divide the dynamic verbs and keep only stative verbs in two categories. The first group of dynamic verbs, verbs of activity, means they require an action or activity when we are applying them. For example, the verb drink, or the verb write, or the verb walk, or the verb speak. In such verbs, there is such verbs, they require an action. We can add ing, as we say, we are drinking, she is writing, they are walking, etc. Such verbs, it is possible easily to add ing verb, and we know how to add according to the previous rule. Sometimes we multiply the last, the letter, for example, stop, we say stopping with double P, etc. The second group of process verb means, for example, the verb grow. Grow means to change, grow means to change from one case into another, from one state. So it is possible to say growing. We say trees are growing, means getting larger. The third group of bodily sensation, for example, the verb hurt or the verb feel. Such verbs means we say wounds are hurting, means there is an ache or pain during these verbs, or feeling. The fourth group verbs of transitional verbs. Transition from the verb transition means they change from one state into another. For example, the verb land or the verb arrive, etc. See, land means to change from the case of flying to the going to the earth, land. Or to arrive, from moving to stopping somewhere. So land, landing, arrive, arriving, etc. The last group is verbs of momentary verbs. Such verbs came or derived from the verb moment, from the word moment or the noun. Moment means these verbs happen in a very short time. Let's say, for example, the verb nod, or knock, or say cake, or tap, etc. These verbs take a very short time during happening. Say if we nod, make like this, to knock, knock takes very short time, or kick by foot or legs, or tap on the shoulder. So another feature of this group or these verbs is they require repetition, means we do not knock only for the one time on doors. Or see, repetition, or the verb nodding like this to encourage somebody, or to nod to show agreement or refusal. Means first, they happen for a very short time, and second, they require repetition. The second group, which not dynamic, is what we call the stative verb. Stative, in sense, they do not take ing form. So here are going to divide them into two main groups. The first group, verbs of inert perception, like for example, mind. Mind, you know, to care about something, or to say, for example, to think in case of what? In case of believing in something, not in considering the case. The second. Okay, so let's add another more example about the verbs of inert perception, like verb smell. And if you remember, we took this verb as a kind of linking verb, but here with different context. Or the verb, let's say, wish, etc., or hope. So here it is not possible to say, I'm wishing you good luck, for example. We say, I wish you. No, we do not add. A smell, for example, we can't say, I am smelling, for example, when you are talking the delicious foods, the food is smelling delicious. No, it smells delicious. Why? Because it is a linking verb and it does not take ing. The second group of stative verb is what we call stative verbs, is the relational verb. Relational, from the word relation, noun, means the linking between two sides. For example, belong, or relate or belong. Belong, for example, if you belong to the English department, we do not say you are belonging to English department. What? Because this verb of relational, we say you belong to. The verb belong to, we do not add ing. Or relate, the matter is relating to the, for example, a crime, or to the food, or we say relates, the matter relates. We don't say relating. So this is, in let's say, in a way, how do we divide the verbs according to the dynamic or stative? Why? Because if you remember, we explained the previous section about the tenses of the verbs, the past and the present and progressive. So when do we use this the case of progressive? According to the verbs, some verbs can be only dynamic, some verbs are only stative, and we have a small group of verbs can be dynamic and stative according to the situation and according to the meaning of the verb. I gave you 3 samples or examples, measure, contain, and all. And please, I want you to make a list, go and search and find a list of such verbs, and in order to imply them in situations.